What's up, everybody? Let's get it started, man. Waiting for everybody to get in here. We got a good little topic for tonight, y'all. Man. And let's see. Let me shoot this out to some people. Shoot this out. Sophia, what's up? What's good? What's good? Still waiting on you to call me. We were supposed to chit chat. We were supposed to chit chat. Big guy. My big dog. That's my big dog right there, man. What's up, man? Yo, 33. I gotta get I gotta get an address for you, bro. Cuz I gotta get you this. Yeah. Well, make time, Sophia. You know. Oh, I'm gonna start saying, look, daughter, make some time. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. But man, how everybody doing tonight, man? Oh man. Tonight we got a good topic tonight, man. It's yeah, I'm good, Sophia. I'm chilling. I'm sitting here sipping on a little red wine. This my wine for the night is 19 Crimes, Cali Red, Snoop Dogg. It's actually pretty damn good, man. It's pretty good. Deidre, what's good? What's good? Hey, man. That's that truck life lifting. Hey, man. Where you at? Where you at, man? Hey, guys. Thank you for the heart me's, man. Make sure you guys are liking, sharing, liking, sharing, commenting, all of that great stuff. Okay. All right. You're in that gym. Consistency. Oh, VA. All right. Okay. Yeah, I got a lot of people up in VA, man. A lot of people up in VA. Yeah, we got a good topic for tonight, man. Oh, man, Sophia, you missed it last week, man. Kaylin was on last week. Oh man, it was a dope session. Real dope. Yeah. Oh man. What? Oh man. Two trailer tires a day? Hey man, keep your head up on it, bro. Yeah, you missed them, man. Yeah, I sent you an invite too. I sent you an invite, man. We was talking about what was last week? Last week was long distance relationship because he's in a relationship now. And the young lady actually lives, overseas. So it's man, it was a good one. He might slide in here tonight. I don't know. Um, but the topic for tonight is interracial relationships. the ins and outs. I'm kind of basing it upon how the one was from last week. So, yeah. Let's see. Man. Yeah, we're just gonna make sure you guys are grabbing that heart me up at the top. Grab the daily heart me. Let's see, where's my other little message? Man, appreciate you big guys sharing it out. Man, I hope you get those tires all sorted out. You already got somebody getting it all fixed? I'm assuming that it needs fixed, right? Let's see. Oh, okay. Good. Deidre, how's your night going today? Majestic, thank you for the heart, me love. Well, 300 wasn't too bad for two of those trailer tires, $150 a piece. That ain't bad. Put on and everything. So, and I know that ain't bad because I've been in the industry before. That's what I did. Nothing but logistics and transportation. So, 300 is good. Yeah. Welcome in, Majestic. Welcome in, man. We got a good. All right. Yeah, you're getting ready. It's that time. One thing I love about everybody that jumps on here, man, it's the consistency. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is truly doing in their element. Like Sophia's at the gym, big guys on the road, pushing things around. DJ's getting ready for work. Like that's why I appreciate you guys so much for even taking out the time to even jump in. If y'all not following Sophia, man, y'all click on Sophia, and follow Sophia. Majestic, make sure y'all follow Majestic. Make sure you guys follow Deidre. Everybody join in. You know what I'm saying? What we got there? Yeah. Finance Peach, what's good, daughter? What's good? Man, yeah, we just sitting here chilling. Finance. I should have had you come over and just come sip some wine with me. That's what I should have did. I'm sorry. I apologize in advance. I should have said, daughter, come on over and sit here and drink some wine with me. I got to make better decisions in life. I'm sorry. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Always a good time. I mean, it ain't too late if you want to come over. I mean, I got bottles of wine here. If you just want to come over here and have a drink with your pop, with your bonus pops over here, you're more than welcome. You're always welcome. You got the code. Come on in. Man, let me tell y'all something, man. I love all my bonus kids and my natural born kids. I love them, man. Well-rounded. I got a well-rounded, plethora that I love. You know what I'm saying? They all good, man. Well, say less. Hey, look, come on. Hey, look, don't make me start cooking something. Rosie, what's good? What's good, Rosie? Welcome in. This is the 100 podcast. As y'all can see from my shirt, I'm not a therapist. I'm just a guy who been through some things, So, let's have some fun, man. Let's have some fun. I'm gonna let a few more people roll up in here. We're gonna get started. Topic for tonight is interracial dating. The ins and outs, man. Kind of stemming off of my son last week was on, and he's dating a young lady overseas, and it's an interracial relationship, and you know, what's that, bro? Big guy. I slept all day, so that was a good. Why you say dang, Marley? What's up? Hey man, look. I mean, this the world we in, bro. You know, it's interracial or dating. A matter of fact, it was crazy because I was just talking to my cousin right before this. I was getting the kids all situated for bath time and all that. And, his wife is Mexican, and, his other daughter's wife was Mexican. His girlfriend or whatnot, or whatever it was Mexican. And he said something very profound. I said, man, yeah, you see the merch. He said, you know, me being with my wife wasn't my preference of the race, right? It wasn't a preference, but you can't control who you fall in love with. And I said, you know what? That's so true. He's like, now my preference is, a black woman. But, when you ended up, spending time with someone and y'all vibe and y'all click, it don't make a difference at that point. I think preferences are just what it is, a preference of what you want, versus what you actually get. And, I love them. They are in love. They complement each other. And I see so many interracial relationships that's like that. You know what I'm saying? I am love and support greatness. What's good? What's good? I gotta see. Did she pop in? Let me invite her. I think it's great. Preference is one thing, but you can't control who you fall in love with. You feel what I'm saying? You fall in love with who you're gonna fall in love with. So I don't know. It's that's why we're gonna talk about it. I like to hear everybody's perspective and everything on it. So we're gonna sip wine. I am love and support. What's good? What's good? We're gonna sip some wine and I don't know, I might eat some chips or something. I don't know. I might need to order some food. I might do.
Hey,
What's good, love? How are you tonight? How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Hey man, blessed and highly favored, sipping on some wine, just relaxing.
That's good.
Yeah. How was your day?
It went pretty well.
Yeah.
Blessed and highly favored, I can say that.
Yeah. That's good. That's all that matters.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly, Sophia. Sometimes I type in what we need. Now you just said a whole verse there. Man, yes. Yes. Welcome in, Cherish. Welcome in. That's a whole word right there. Sometimes our types are not what we need. We could prefer certain things, but maybe, you know what I'm saying? We got to get out of that whole type and preference and everything. Look, love is love. You love who you love. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but yeah, we going I got, me. I always got some okay. That's what's up, bro. See you back in a minute. Um that's why we're gonna jump into some of these highlights and these points, man. Let me see where the rest of the panel at right here. Jazz, what's good? What's good? Cheers. I know you already probably like 20 in, so maybe I'll get a cheers. I don't know. But that's my sis. That's my sis. I bet you can't. Well, since you can't cheers no more, make sure you like, share, grab that daily heart me up at the top, and we're gonna have some fun. I'm still jealous though, Um, topic for the night, guys. Welcome in. 100. Interracial relationships. You know, interracial relationships. Them kids. Yeah, yeah. Um, let's jump into it, man. So, um, I think interracial relationships can be beautiful. To be honest, I think it can be beautiful, eye opening. It could be for some of those people, deeply fulfilling. But they also come with challenges, right? That most couples probably never even consider, right? You got to think about a few things, right? The cultural differences, um, the family opinions, which, I don't care about family opinions. Opinions are just like, y'all know. Um, the pressure from society, and sometimes the internal bias that we have, right? Um, but loving across, like the racial lines, and, it requires a lot of honesty, um, and very intentional communication for it to work. So, that's what we're going to do tonight. Tonight, we're going to unpack the real ins and outs, and it ain't going to be no sugarcoating, just truth. Y'all know me. I don't sugarcoat. Just going to say it what it is, because as my shirt says, I am not a therapist. I'm just a guy who been through some things. Let's start it off. Number one, attraction versus awareness. What initially draws people into interracial relationships? What do you guys think? What initially draws you in? Anybody think about it? Anybody think? All right. Sophia says curiosity and attraction. Finance Pete says attraction. Okay. Um,
Chemistry.
chemistry. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think all of those things it will draw you in. Sometimes you'll be very surprised about who you have chemistry with, especially when, again, we all have a preference, right? We all have a preference of what we want, but sometimes you just click with somebody and you're like, dang, I'm really clicking with this person. And I think there's a side of that of an individual that goes, I didn't want to click with them because I'm not supposed to. But who says that you're not supposed to? Just because that's your preference? You know what I'm saying? Um, are you loving the person or the idea of them? You know what I'm saying? Are you loving the person or the idea of the person? That's that's good. That's good. That's something to think about. You know what I'm saying? You know, eh, eh, are you in love with? Are you loving the? When I say idea of the person, I'm thinking about their particular status. What if they got a real good status, but it's not a person that you want to be like? This guy is, a Caucasian guy, and look good, whatever for the ladies that's in here. He looks good, got his things together, great set of teeth. I know that's what women look at, teeth. Um, good job, good head on shoulder, and actually treats you well. I think at that point, that's what a lot of people look like. You know what I'm saying? But they look at that and go, hey, I like a lot of these qualities. I like the qualities, but I still prefer, you know, you know, if you're black, the black guy, or if you're white, the white guy, or the white woman, the black, whatever your demographic is. I think that, you know, people tend to, definitely draw towards what they're used to. I think a lot of times people don't allow themselves to see anything else. But yeah, like I am love says, it's love has no color, you know. And I'm gonna keep saying I am love starts with a C. Charity, no,
Crystal.
Crystal. I was like, I know it's a C here. Kim's Kitchen, welcome in, welcome in. Yeah, love has no color. You know, I think we put a color on it, or we try to put a color on it, right? We try to so many times to put a color on it because it's just not our preference, right? Um, is it a fetishization, like a fetish, or just a genuine connection? You know,
I also believe that sometimes it boils down to being tired of the I'm not going to say the race, but your own kind, as far as the men, the type of men. I'm not saying I'm not putting them all in the same category, but sometimes you want to venture out and see, okay, it almost seems like you see a lot of successful relationships and that are different ethnicities. And sometimes you have a lot of them who are raised different too, as far as the respect.
mm-hmm,
That goes a
mm-hmm,
long way. Like if you was to go to another country, the respect is a whole different ball game, as far as how it is here in Georgia.
right. I mean, it's completely different from what's here in the States.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Um, Georgia. You in Georgia too?
Yes, I am.
I mean, I'm in Houston, but I came from Atlanta, so you know. ATL. Um, Sophia says love has no boundaries. And that's the essence of it. Love has no color, love has no boundaries. You're not, I don't think anyone should be condemned about who you fall in love with. You fall in love with who you fall in love with. But I think a lot of us could miss a love opportunity or someone that could be actually really good for you because we set ourselves up for having a preference. Oh, I won't date this type of guy. I won't date nobody from this particular race because we hear so many different stereotypes that goes along with it. I mean, like, I'm being real. Like, I'm guilty of it of it myself. You know, um, but I believe of course, I know who I'm with now. I'm with who I'm supposed to be with. Um,
That's
but
very true. My mom was
yeah.
like that. She used to tell us to pretty much stay away from Mexicans and Caucasians because my sister was into Mexicans and my brother was into Caucasian women.
Hmm.
And my mom, she was the type that don't mess with them girls. They'll have you in a lot of trouble. They parents might be racist and then have you just all types of little situation scenarios, like you said, stereotype.
Have you in that get out situation? Let me stop. You know what I'm talking about, right? Get out. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. I'm about to say, Lord, please let me tell you, you seen the movie. I mean, I think a lot of that comes from not doing the due diligence to really discover who that person is. I think a lot of that can happen. It's not, you know, um, figuring out who the person is. Let's see, Deidre says, I've never been outside of my own, but at the same time, I'm single now. So, well, Deidre, if all I can say is, hey, like they said earlier, love has no boundaries, love has no colors. You know, sometimes if we open our eyes to other things, we might see something else because, you know, sometimes we continuously go towards the same thing and we keep getting the same result. So what would be the harm of seeing what something different is? And it's not saying that every person from one particular ethnicity is going to do the same thing. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying if you notice and I think a lot of it goes back to who we are, right? Let me preface it that we tend to attract what we're comfortable with. But sometimes, to Sophia's point, sometimes we need to be attracted to somebody that's basically out of our comfort zone. We probably need somebody that's different, that's actually going to challenge us, and it may very well be in your own particular ethnicity. But I think we don't take a lot of time to decide that. You know what I mean? Um, funny story. You know, before I even moved to Houston, right? My now wife, was my best friend. And I remember sitting there calling her. This is before we even started even thinking about dating each other or anything. And I laughed. I said, yeah, I'm going to move to Houston. I'm going to go find me a Teresa Mendoza, because I love, Queen of the South. I'm like, yeah. She was like, really? Really? I said, hey, look, that's what's out here. So I'm about to go find me a Teresa Mendoza. I was determined. But, God had other plans, So, it was, I was at a point where I was like, I'm going to try something different. No, that wasn't what God had planned for me. So, Sophia, DJ said, I don't discriminate. Sophia says, we're all made in the image of God. Absolutely. If we highlight that part of it and realize that we all are made in that image, man, look, I think we'll be so far from where I think we'll be so much further as a people if we recognize and say, hey, we're all made in the image of God. Let's just not put a color on it. Let's check out the essence of who this person is. Let's see if this person is a person that is a part of my core values. Let's see if this person here is a person that is going to treat me good. If this person is going to support me. I think we get outside of that, trying to put ourselves in this particular box, that sometimes we miss that blessing, Question. Have you ever felt like someone loved what you represented more than who you actually are? Let me read that again. Have you ever felt like someone loved what you represented more than who you actually are?
Yes.
Tell me more.
I've had situations where I have been with men where I may have met them at an event, and when I say an event, I mean like it may be a nonprofit event that whether it's like for instance, we had a back to school event. I have a nonprofit, so back then, that was actually my first event, actually the back to school event, and there was a guy that was there, and I invited him to come because he has a clothing line, and I see him. He's very consistent. He's with selling his clothes, and I've seen him be consistent over time for a long time. So I wanted to give him the opportunity to come in and advertise and sell his clothing. He was into me, and I was pretty much overlooking it, even though he was giving signs that he was flirting with me. And my friends kept telling me, girl, what's wrong with you? You can't see that man like you, that he try to hit on you, And I'm like, man, I can't even take that man serious, because I'm just one of those, like, sometimes, I might just, I don't know, I just don't, when I don't know, because I can't, it's hard for me to really take men serious. But I ended up giving him a chance, and it didn't last long at all, and I think it was more so he liked the business part of it, as far as, okay, she young and she doing something, she got a lot going on for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And later on in time, actually, I found out recently after talking to one of my business friends who ran into him before, and she talked to him, and she asked him before, like, "What happened to you and Crystal?"
Mm-hmm.
And his response was,
Thanks
"Oh,
for the
she clingy, or he said she clingy, and she control. No, I don't know. I don't think it was controlling, but it was more so basically asking like your whereabouts and stuff." I said we barely even talked. We talked that one day, that one night, and probably the next day, and after he left my house and everything, because like we had a whole conversation, conversation was really good and everything, and he was talking about how he had to go do something, and I'm like, I went asking like, "Oh, where you going?" I said, if well, if you come back, then that's fine. If not, that's fine. No rush. You ain't got to explain. It's understood. You said, you got a whole life outside of this. You ain't got to tell me what's
Yeah.
going on. And I do feel like I felt some type of way because I felt like he didn't necessarily tell the truth. It was more so you was into me for a second, and then once you, I guess, got to know me, I don't know. I don't know if you got cold feet or wet. But I've
Yeah.
had more than one situation where I felt like it was more so a person just viewing me in a business perspective versus when they really get to know me, and almost like they just get cold feet after that. I don't know.
No, I got that. I dig that. What's up, goddaughter? What's good? What's good? Welcome in. Um, Everybody, welcome in. Make sure you guys are grabbing that daily heart me up at the top, liking, sharing out with your friends. Topic for tonight is interracial dating, interracial relationship, rather. Um, the ins and outs. What are we, what are we missing? Whatnot. Is sometimes we miss some things by staying to our preferences. Goddaughter, what you got going? I don't think she's in position. It's cool. It's cool. Um, the lawn lady, welcome in. Welcome in. Um, Shay, welcome in. Welcome in. Um, Number two, everybody that's just joining us, thank you for the heart me. This is the 100 podcast. Topic for tonight: interracial relationships, the ins and outs. Um, Love beyond color or love under pressure. Number two, cultural differences in love and communication. Um, how upbringing shapes communication styles. And we Crystal talked about it a little bit. Sophia's chatted on it a little bit. There are going to be differences that you have because of how you was brought up. You know what I mean? Um, if you were brought up in a particular way, it, you may have been taught to, you know, let's just say for the sake of religion, right? You may have had a specific religion. You might have grew up Christian, and this person you might be dealing with is Catholic, or it could be, Muslim or whatnot. So the way that you grew up is very different, So now you're trying to figure out, how do I incorporate, you know, those cultural differences into a relationship? Because again, you're not necessarily you're not in control of who you fall in love with, right? Um, you got to think about those discipline, gender roles, affection, emotional expression, because certain cultures don't express, may not express how you grew up, you know. Um, Love who loves you. I mean, that's probably the most simplest way to put it, Sophia. Thank you for saying that. Love who loves you. If they love you, and you know that they love you, and they show, and also they have to show that they love you. You know what I mean? If you're getting all those components, again, your ethnicity, race, whatever you want to call it, You know, they call it interracial. I I only use that term because that's the term that people know. But I think we're all one human race. But I think all different ethnic backgrounds is the proper way of looking at it. But anywho, I'm not going into a lesson on that. So, um, Dark Chocolate Zai, welcome in, bro. When differences enrich the relationship versus when they divide it. Healing with Najee, welcome in, welcome in. Um, when differences enrich the relationship versus when they divide it. When do you think differences will enrich a relationship? Or how can differences enrich a relationship? Godmother, are you coming up, or you're not in position? Um,
I believe that differences as far as enriching a relationship, it can come in handy and be very beneficial when you have two people from different um, backgrounds. As far as, okay, for instance, for example, you have, okay, you might have, okay, you know how you have Caucasians who are usually like they're raised a little different even when it comes to eating, like the different foods that they eat. They steer away from certain foods, and there's certain foods that we're not as knowledgeable about, to steer away from. And even when it comes to like business, a lot of them kind of have the tools that we need or that we're looking for. Like we have a lot of skills and abilities, but we don't have the business side. So
mhm.
you might run into somebody who have the knowledge as far as the business side because their parents raised them different, all the way from, I mean, different as far as them learning about credit at a very young age, or they teach their kids the business side even when taking on their business. So a lot of us don't really be having a lot of the knowledge when it comes to the paperwork and business. Okay, I want to start a business, but how do I start a business? Or even when like I said, even when it comes to food, they're a little different when it comes to food, because if you go around um a certain, what you call it, yeah, I just kind of
Demographic.
no, more so, I don't know the word I'm looking for. I can't figure I can't figure out the word I'm looking for.
I
But just
got you.
more so where they have more money. You can just tell, you can tell
So basically, somebody who's a little bit more well off.
yeah, yeah. You can just, yeah, yes. But yes, you can notice just about the foods they it might be foods that you've never even seen before. You can't even name the name of it because you ain't never even seen or heard of it before. But I definitely say that it can be very beneficial just learning about one another's culture and being able to come together as one. And yeah.
I got you. Godmother, what's good? Welcome in. Topic for tonight is interracial relationships, the ins and outs. What's
Hello.
good?
What's going on?
Man, everything is
Um,
nothing.
true, true. Well, I mean, interracial. I mean, that's what's up. I guess. I mean, I dated a white boy before.
Hmm.
That one. He was actually cool. Um, real cool. He had all the things a woman like, I would say. He was probably to this day one of the best relationships I had. But
Really?
yeah, but we broke up because I couldn't deal with the pressure that I got from other black people concerning it. And
Mm.
I didn't think that it would matter, but it really did. And so like his parents were very, very prejudiced, um and I didn't tell my parents about it. I was trying for them not to know. And it was kind of like embarrassing to me. But he was fine. Matter of fact, from Allendale, Brian's
Okay.
teacher.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And he told me, he said, he said, I think he was adopted. He was like, I just think, he said, I've never been attracted to white women. And to this
No,
day,
his wife is black.
his wife is black. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
And he was, it was really good. And I, had DeAndre, because she was light skinned, it looked like that was our daughter. So he was real cool in a lot of ways. And matter of fact, he and I still cool to this day. But so that's been my one and only, one that I dealt with. But I feel like, to each his own. I mean, I personally would prefer my own, personally, because I just think certain things and cultures, and no shade against anybody of another race, but a lot of times when you get into races with people, you realize, like, that other side, black people kind of glorify it. They don't realize, like, all of the stuff. And a lot of times, I've heard black people, like, put us down as a race with things that we so-called don't know. But I have to remind them, when we were growing up, how many black, how many of us did we see on TV? We had Bill Cosby and A Different World, and then Good Times, and you can name them on one hand. But
Family Matters. Yeah.
that, well, yeah, you're a little younger than me, so yeah. But I'm talking about in the
Oh man,
younger
don't
ones. So
don't
yeah,
don't, don't do that. You know what I'm
yeah. I'm
talking
just
about.
saying, you're a little young. I mean, I got you. You were the little brother, so But I mean, but you think about, like, a me and Wendell time. Let me say that. You know,
Jeffersons.
well, yeah, that's what we had. We had the Jeffersons. We had Good Times.
I had that too.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, of course you had it because you was behind us, but you brought up Family Matters. I was grown when Family Matters came out. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. But either way, you're less than 10 people. I mean, more so like 8 shows. But if you start
Right.
naming off the white ones, I mean, everything. I mean, you boom, Gunsmoke. I mean, he did not. You all kind. You name them all up. Dynasty. I mean, even down to the soap operas. And what I
Dallas.
tried to, right, what Dallas, that's right. And again, remember, JR was so nasty. They had to think who shot JR. They didn't know who shot him because he had double, he just going through and backstab everybody. So I try to
Mhm.
remind people, like, when we grew up watching those things, what did you see them doing? You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, this
Right.
presidency is just what it is. You see a lot of backstabbing and conniving, and everybody sleeping with everybody and doing all kind of legal stuff. And that's the culture. So it's a little bit different. I mean, and I don't say that in any disrespectful way. I'm just saying that a lot of things that we were taught with morals, they weren't. But a lot of times blacks will glorify them as. But regardless is that, if you find someone and y'all have a common ground or whatever, I mean, I think it's good. The only thing I don't like to see a person do is, I don't care which way it goes. If you're a race and then you go to another race to find love because you love who you love, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't put down the race that you are just because you with somebody
Yeah.
else. I'm saying, I
Yeah.
don't like that.
Yeah.
If
I agree with you on that one.
yeah,
1,000%. Don't
yes,
put down who your ethnicity just because
yeah.
you have gone and dealt with somebody else. Like, yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
not
Don't make it
yeah.
seem like, oh, this is just so much better and this is it. No,
Right.
no, don't
Yeah.
put people in a box and categorize. You feel what I'm
Correct.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I
I
like.
don't like that at all. You
Me
know.
either. Yeah. Yeah. Other than
Yeah.
that, it's just like,
So
if it's love, it's love.
yeah, so you actually segue into to the next topic of number 3 was family, friends, and outside opinions.
Mm.
Um, like you said, dealing with the disapproval, whether it was subtle or out loud, you know, you like you said, you had to deal with the fact of, what your friends and stuff, and it became heavy. That
It
weight
was.
was heavy on you.
It was real heavy, yeah.
It was
Because it's
heavy,
like,
but
like it was sell out, and
yeah,
and that, and I think that was the thing, because I was taught to be black and very, very proud. And so
right,
then it was like, oh, and even like now people say, oh, with all your success, you can't get a black man, you have to get a white man. And that always irritates me to the core, because
yeah,
at the end of the day, what are you trying to say? That, my black kings aren't educated? You know what I'm saying? That I don't
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
But I do love the time that where we are in, and I mean, let's certain things I'm gonna say is not a color; it is a personality. You have people they'll get, oh, that's why I don't deal with black businesses, and that's what they'll be selling out. But went to white businesses and Hispanic and Asian businesses and had bad business, but you still went back. But if it's black, now
right,
you don't just put us down as a general. But like I said, I feel like it's some differences, no question, and dealing with that is a lot. When I look back on it, I wonder, even seeing, he's done very well as well for himself, but
hmm
um but I wonder, I mean, I wonder sometimes, could I have dealt with it differently? Me personally, could I have just, gotten rid of all the noise or whatever like that, and then just, and I really still don't know, because it was pretty extreme. I'm saying,
I mean, you got to think about it. During that particular period of time, you were younger. You know what
right?
I'm saying? More impressionable about and cared about uh people's opinions. But at this big age that we at now, we can give a damn about what somebody thinks and says.
Yep,
We
right,
don't
correct.
care. It's like whatever.
Mhm.
All right, cool. Whatever.
But I still don't even know
You
that
know.
I would. I'm not sure.
And that's fair. That you know what that's fair. That's fair, Carmen. That's fair to say that you don't know if you would. That doesn't necessarily rule it out.
Hmm.
Again, if it comes along your way and it fits, you'll know. If it don't,
Right.
you will know. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's fair.
Um, Family, friends, and outside opinions. Number three, loyalty to your partner versus loyalty to your family. You already harped on that, so I'm gonna move past that one. Um, I think here's a big part that we have to learn how to do: how to set those boundaries without burning bridges. Because I think, again, at this age that we're at, of course, you're gonna have people that's younger. You have to start setting boundaries of what you will accept and will not accept. And if people can't deal with it, you got to know how to say, you know what, it's cool. I won't come around.
Yeah.
And look, I ain't got no problem with it. You know.
Mhm.
Um. So here's the question. The question I pose is, how much weight should outside opinions have on who you love?
I think it should only. I think it should only have an effect. Have a bearing on it only if that person has shown you some type of red flag. Shown a red flag. If he's a little abusive or whatever. Because one thing I say now, we most time we start talking about interracial, we go directly to white and black, but there's other different ones.
Like,
But
so man,
in
yeah.
a lot of countries, women are like second class citizens. One, so the way they teach and or the way they treat their wives could be different. And I
Mhm.
always say with white men, some of them, like, they don't just like, they don't want you. They don't want you, but they gonna, put poison in your food and kill you. Like, what I'm saying, for $50,000, like, yo, if you don't want me, I'm saying, just leave. You
Right,
know what I'm saying?
just
Yeah,
leave.
yeah,
Yeah.
this league, what I'm saying? You don't want to do it. I get it. Me either. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying? They want to, be doing the most. So sometimes I'm a little concerned. And then you find some of them, they have like an obsession with chocolate. They do. And they might say things like, yo, I just want to your skin and whatever. And so then that's not love. That's like, an obsession. And sometimes it's just a, notch on the belt or experience or whatever. So it's just a lot of things. But I mean, if those types of things are not in play, and you just got that wholesome, guy or whatever, or wholesome girl, then they shouldn't. Then all the outside noise, just like if it was somebody who it was the same race, that outside noise should be like, yeah, no, stay out.
No doubt. No doubt.
I agree with what she just said. I would only, I mean, when it comes to love, as far as having any type of outside say, really nobody should have any type of say when it comes to love, because at the end of the day, the heart wants what the heart wants. But like you said, the
Absolutely.
red flags as well. You do have to have that discerning spirit. And sometimes, like, okay, my mom, she was the type that when she meet a person, say like if I was to introduce a man to her, it's almost like she could just read that man right off bat if he good or bad for me. And sometimes it has been times that she has told me right up front in front of the man and has said some disrespectful stuff. But come to turn out, she was right. But that's the only time that I would say, to listen when it comes, like you said, when it comes to red flags. But at the end of the day, the heart wants what the heart wants. You shouldn't let anybody stand in y'all way of love. Possibly real love. Unconditional love.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the outside opinions. You know, how much weight should that carry? What do you think? How much weight should an outside opinion carry?
Mm.
That's my bonus daughter, y'all.
Hello.
She had to come drink with me.
Yes, we came for the wine and stuff. I would say it depends, but more so if it's like trustworthy people that you like care about their opinions. Like,
Okay.
for my instance, parents would care more so about their opinions versus anyone else, or like anyone else, like family wise.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it would be more so like people that I truly trust, or like has my best interests at heart, that can see things that maybe like I'm blind and can't really see. Then I would really care about their opinions.
Okay. All right. I can dig that. I can dig that. And I'll take it even a step further and say sometimes, even with that, you have to be cautious, because a lot of people will, even the people that are closest to you, can still have a lot of bias.
True.
You can have a lot of bias into that, because not everybody knows how to be neutral. And I learned that years ago, and I had to grow into being a neutral person, because I tell you, I was not a neutral person at all. And
What do you mean by a neutral person?
so when I say a neutral person that can tell you the truth without picking a side. You know what I mean? And don't put their own particular bias just because they wouldn't choose to do it that particular way. They can still give you the real truth. Like, I'll give an example. My ex-wife's dad, which is I call dad now, was probably is the most neutral person, and I love him for it, because regardless of what went on between his daughter and I, he remained neutral, which is why we have the relationship we have to this day, where he does not see me as a son-in-law. He sees me as his son, has always seen me as his son. Won't call, when he talks to people, this is my son. You know what I mean? He is such a neutral person. You know, he doesn't have that just because this is my daughter, or just because I'm this is so-and-so. He looks at it for what it is at face value and say, this is just straight up with his facts. If I'm right, I'm right. Because he'll call me out when I was wrong. He has told me when I was right. You know, and again, if you have somebody like that, I mean, that's why I say, you know, that neutral person that can still be honest with you.
Well, I was just wondering. I was wondering that's what you were talking about, but I know when people say a bias. So let me say I am a person to call a thing, period. But if I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to someone who is my person, I'm talking about whether it's like my daughter, my sister, my cousin, my friend, whatever. Of course, there's a bias there because the whole point is you want them to win. You know what I'm saying? But I'm still not going to. I'm not gonna lie to them. I ain't gonna lie to kick it. I ain't gonna lie to make them feel better, because you can't conquer what you won't confront, right? And the people who are truly on your side are gonna always tell you what's up. Hey, you got a boog on your face, whatever. They're gonna be the one to tell you. Some other
Well, I mean, people that's on your side can also still carry a bias.
Well, I mean, again, they're gonna always carry a bias because they want you to win, but that doesn't sway their opinion. You see what I'm saying? My thing is this: when we start talking about anything, of course, I want my child to. I mean, that's my child. Period. You know what I'm saying? Right, wrong, or whatever. She's my child, but I'm going to tell her, not just because she's my child. She acting up, she tripping, like when she was married. I'm like, hey, you out of line. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and I said that's not how you act. It's not how you talk to him. You need to calm down. Now, yeah, she's my child, but at the end of the day, she's wrong. So, but my bias is at the end of the day. Guess what? Of course, I'm going to be on her side, but I'm going to tell her what it takes. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything with it. You know what I'm saying? If he would have ever put his hands on her, whatever case it be, then guess what? He getting
That's a whole different story.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's
Yeah.
not like, well, she did say whatever, and that's what. No. We're not doing that. But at the end of the day, I don't go through it. I think it's a difference. You're going to have a bias. It's just, you're going to be biased, but because you love, that person, like I said, in whatever capacity, friendship, family, whatever. But the letting them know the truth. You're going to be truthful. You know what I'm saying? Because if I don't care, I don't even have an opinion. You feel me? I could be doing something else. It's not even important to me. Period. So again, if I stop to take out time to give you my opinion on any particular thing, then it's because I care. And even like last week when your son was on, I mean, talking to him last week, I mean, it was really, I mean, he came in, and dude was strong, and that was really a plus.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I told him, and it was true, because if it was something that wasn't right, I would have said, hey, blah blah blah. I wouldn't have attacked him, but I would have told him just, hey, whatever. If he was, but he had it together. I mean, he had it together. I mean, every single thing. I was like, wow. I was so very impressed with him, because that's what I want to hear and see, for whatever. And I'm like, you know what? This, I agree. I feel like he's in love. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's what. And, but I mean, at the end of the day, if he was messing up, I would not tell him because, he don't want to hear that, or he don't know me, or whatever. I'm just going to tell you, because what you'll never say is, Carmen saw blah, 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 but she didn't say that because she didn't want to get involved. We have too many of those types of people. But because he had together. He really had together. He understood. He was very in tune with, his feelings and what it was. And I do concur. I agree. I was like, wow. I was very impressed with him, and his relationship. So, bias, yes, but you still have to be accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like your football team, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe not yours, but I mean, like my football team. Like, at the end of the day,
look. Is the Steelers in it?
Yes, Steelers is in it. Number one in the division, kiddo. Number one.
Hey,
okay.
Look.
Yeah. Falcons not. I just want to make sure you know. I know.
Hey, look. Okay. My other team is though.
Well, I mean, the fact that you have another team lets you know how bad your team is. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no other one.
I have to support where I'm at. I'm going to support them Texans too.
No. You can do that because your first team sucked. That's why there's room. Okay? I'm saying?
That's what.
God, look now. Look.
I'm just, hey, listen, here we go. I'm just calling the thing a thing. You feel what I'm saying? You can't have two. If you have the one, that's it. But I mean, but like I said, it's like your football team. Whenever your team go and play, somebody gonna win, somebody gonna lose, right? So at the end of the day, your bias is going to be for your team. But if there's an actual play or a mistake where they made, you got to call a thing a thing. You know what I'm saying? It was a legit loss.
No, I get it. Let's see. Hold on. Sophia says, I just be asking guys these days. I know that's right. I ain't leaning on to my own understanding. I'm just going to ask God.
No. And Sophia's right. That's what you totally be doing.
You better ask God about it.
I'm telling you, because sometimes, I mean, ask God about it, and then a lot of times he don't always answer right away. So ask him about it, and then sit and be patient, and don't move until he tell you to move.
And you know what? That's the problem that a lot of us have. We are not patient. We are in a microwave society. We want it now.
It is. We want it now. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it. And that's what gets a lot of people in trouble. So sitting down and putting it before God and putting it all in His hands is one thing, but I mean, putting it in His hands is the thing. And then listening, and sometimes He take forever to tell you anything. He just don't move, and then guess what? You don't move. But that is a really great. Hello, don't move.
I definitely agree with Sophia. But I would say when it comes to something like that, that's why it's good to surround yourself around people that are who keep God in the midst of things. Like how y'all was just talking about the whole bias thing. I can say that I went through that with my relationship, and that relationship actually taught me to keep people out of your stuff, especially when y'all going through it, no matter what it is, like all the way from friends to family members to whoever. Keep them out of it, because everybody going to always have their opinion. And then when it comes time to, y'all might make up, and when it comes time to y'all having some type of event or family event or however, now they got their own opinions and they don't want to come to the event, or they about ready to fight the person, or still feel some type of way about the person because of a previous incident that happened. But I can say that I've learned to keep my mouth shut when it comes to what me and that person got going on with our relationship. Because at the end of the day, if we work it out, then you got folks that just going to be looking stupid. They're just going to be like, dang, they back together. Okay, well, okay, I guess. But
Well,
we
I think, or not the control, but I think in that that setup is not so much. Is I agree with what you're saying. Period. And I would say, in addition, is that whenever you got an issue, a lot of times the reason why people be so dramatic because you dramatic. You know what I'm saying? When you go to a person,
true.
you ask an opinion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, you ask an opinion of a person, a person, right? But if you like, oh my gosh, it did he do, you know what I'm saying? Now
Yeah.
you going off, so now they picking up on your energy. So now that's the whole setup, and you crying and you carrying on. Whereas you could have had a conversation, or you could say, yo, like I sometimes call my sister and I said, hey, let me get a vor, and this voice short for voice of reason. Because a lot of times I be ready to go off, you know what I'm saying? So I said, let me get a vor. And she said, okay, what's up? And I tell the situation, and she said, "What? Yeah." And she'll break that down. Well, yeah, maybe so or whatever. But if she say, "Nah, you go ahead," that's okay. That's what I thought. I just want to make sure I'm turning up. So, but I'm coming with the open mind. You see what I'm saying? So I'm coming not with emotion in it. So when you have relationships, sometimes you do need that person that you can talk to, but you have to learn how to come to them so they don't give you bad information. So I would say that in addition to what Crystal was saying, for sure, because
Yeah, for sure.
Because the only time, really, to be honest, the only time you really talking about your relationship to your friends or family or whoever, when you venting, is when something bad done happen. They only know about the bad, not the good. So they only looking at it.
they know
That's
about
how
the
you
good
become
too. No, they know about the good too. That's why sometimes you see them sit like soul food where they shooting their shot. You feel me?
Right.
Because of something that you done went through and said was good, or they watching how he do or watching how she do. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't always bad, but it's just the fact that there's certain things. I mean,
Yeah.
how great he is in the bedroom and all this kind of stuff. And you gotta hold that to yourself. How great she is. This thing that she do. No, you got to hold that to yourself because somebody trying to see what that feel like. You know what I'm saying? So it's certain things, good or bad, you just keep to yourself. Just
Yeah, I have one good friend and she's an
Coach
older
Nikki,
woman.
welcome
She's an
in.
older woman. I have one good friend that I go to and I talk to her just
Mr.
about
Payne, welcome in.
everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And I talk to her because of the fact that she's not judgmental, and she always tell me what thus says the Lord. She always tell me to have a discerning spirit, and to it also always and she always get on me about exhibiting the fruits of the spirit. All the way from self-control to, well, Crystal, if it was you and that, she put it, have you put yourself in that person's shoes as well as she, yeah.
well,
Pretty
and
much.
it's
No,
good to have
I got
somebody
you. I got you.
yeah, it's good to have those ones, but like I said, that's an accountability. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they can be a handicap, especially with some people in the church. And I'm not gonna trip on church people because I'm a church people. But I know a lot of times with people from the old time, they some of the way they put things like where they encourage people to stay in bad marriages and all this kind of stuff like that because the Bible says blah blah blah. So, I mean, I don't always agree with all of their doctrine because it's not what's in the book, is what they have interpreted to say and mean. But that's why it's good to have your own,
Yes.
relationship, your own personal relationship with, with God also, so that sometimes people saying things and they might be in the church and got all these titles, but they still got different things. But I'm not saying anything about that person. I'm just saying this in general, obviously.
But you just hit on it. You just hit on a good word when you said accountability. And I guess that's what it boiled down to. She hold me accountable. Like there was a situation with a whole relationship issue that I had, and well, I wouldn't say relationship, I would say situationship. And it got to the point to where she asked me, well, did he show you this, or did she, and I said, yeah. And she said, well, whose fault is it then? And I said, his. And she said, no. She said, you don't get mad at a person for being who they are. For when a person show you who they are, believe it. So you can't get mad. You can't get mad at fire. And when you touch fire and it burns you, you get mad at the fire. You got to take accountability because you seen what was going. Yeah.
Coach Nikki, welcome in. Welcome in. Topic for tonight. Welcome in, everybody. 100 podcast. Topic for tonight is interracial relationships, the ins and outs. That's what we kind of chopping it up. Yeah. So, um, that's what the topic is for tonight, Coach Nikki. Everybody's kind of just weighing in on some of the questions that I've asked. Basically like how someone's opinions, outside opinions, weigh in on who you're dating.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And talking about like the social pressures and everything, public, scrutiny that you get, the looks and all of that. Um, here's the truth. Some people won't critique your relationship, they'll critique your choice.
There you go. Well, yeah, because sometimes the choices, you got a person that's always blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? You basically find this you in the same relationship with a different person, and those are choices.
Yeah.
Or they go through and like I like but hear women and they say, well, they're crying, got done cheated on or whatever, and I told you, well, he hurt me, and why would you do? I'm like, first of all, why would you give anybody that much power? You know what I'm saying? But you got the same dude. See, different ain't better. And at the end of the day, I hear a lot of people saying, God this, God that, and they so Christian, but they're in the bed fornicating. You know what I'm saying? And the word is the word. So now how you do one thing is how you do everything. And now you can't cry about what happened because you stepped outside the will to satisfy your flesh. Now he's still satisfying his flesh, and now you mad like he did something to you. That's not your husband. You know what I'm saying? So it's an accountability all the way around. But like I said, it's just, I see some, how they kind of use it like that. Like you got to understand, you're making bad choices because you keep choosing the same dude. He might be in church, but watch his actions. You'll see. This one, right? So every time you meet a guy, you want to run and do this for him. You want to start cooking for him. You want to invite him to your house. You want to do no. All those things are out of line. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. The choices, what I'm saying, it's not the relationship. It's you making bad choices.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because so what I'm going to say is it doesn't matter what race you choose. If you don't set your boundaries, you're going to choose that same man in any race.
100.
That part.
Same person.
Oh man.
Same
Right.
spirit, different
It's just a
person.
different, right. Different show, same characters. That's it.
Look, you just being put to the same test. Are you gonna pass your test this time, sister?
Right. Because you're going to pick the same one. And see, that's what kills me when I hear people say, men and well, I'm just going to date outside my race for what? Because if you don't change, if you don't set your boundaries already, then you're gonna do that. You're gonna get that same alcoholic. You're gonna get that same foolishness. I mean, that's just the truth. That's just the truth.
That too, and sometimes and about setting the boundaries. It's about having a standard and that you hold.
There you go, and you hold yourself accountable. There you go.
That's right. You hold yourself to. So yes, because you can't complain about what you get when you out there. All type of way. If you're looking, don't get me wrong. I got a curve or two as well, but when you out there showing all the body and you keep running across dudes that's only looking at body, then can't be mad because you putting it out there like he can get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Peachy Tay said, all right, godmother, say that.
That's what's up.
Number 5. Anybody that just joining us, make sure you guys are liking, sharing, grabbing that daily heart me up at the top. This is the 100 podcast. Topic for tonight is interracial relationships. All right. Number 5, internal biases and uncomfortable conversations. All right. Unlearning stereotypes you didn't realize you had.
Question: are you able to pin the topic? You know how you can pin comments. Are you able to pin the topic just so that people know what the topic is once they come in?
Yep, I sure can. I'm about to do it right now. Good call out.
Why are you pinning? Repeat that again. What you were saying?
Unlearning stereotypes you didn't realize you had. The internal bias that you have with yourself. Talking about you internally, and then also uncomfortable conversations that come with that. So unlearning stereotypes that you didn't realize you had, because we all have a stereotype, and our stereotype is based upon what we are comfortable with. what we're familiar with.
Oh, you mean stereo? I mean, that's what I'm saying. How is stereotype comfortable? Okay, cool. Well, I mean, okay, so yeah, I mean, explain that a little more in depth. You saying
Go
about
in depth.
So,
I agree.
so we all heard stereotypes. So I'm not gonna pick on any particular ethnicity, right? But people have heard that, oh, if you're with a white person and or a Caucasian person, and they don't season their food. Oh, okay. So now you're with this person and they don't season food. So what you gonna do? Are they gonna put some raisins in the potato salad? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely not.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta unlearn these particular stereotypes because that's not every Caucasian person. We got some Caucasian people that can cook.
Oh, it's definitely no question. GW, he was award winning and he learned how to operate a smoker from his white homeboy Chris. So for sure.
Yeah,
or
when you see interracial couples, say a black man and a white female, the first thing a black woman to say is, "Oh, he only with her because she'll say yes, female. She'll let him do anything."
Well, you know what? Now I will say, for the most part, that's what I have seen. Now I have seen that they. So I will say that I just watching relationships now. Russians are very very similar to blacks. But a lot of just straight Caucasians, a lot of times they pick their battles. You know what I'm saying? They don't go to they go to war, not the battle. I mean, they don't go to war, they go to battle.
Go to battle, right?
So they pick certain things. They're just going to be like, well, and it's kind of like the song that Fox Brown and Jay-Z did a long time ago. Ain't no like the one I got. You know what I'm saying? Sleeps around, but he gives me a lot. So they a lot of times will marry for financial status, and as long as they're good financially, they're not moving. They know it happens. They say, hey, he's just doing whatever. But our culture told us the same thing. Remember, like Betty Wright said about what they said, don't blame Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie's just a man. He's doing the best he can. So at the end of the day, they'll teach you, to do pick a certain one. And I think that comes on a character of a character of a woman, because you have some women who, they need to be taken care of. You know what I'm saying? They're a supportive role. And then you have some that make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line. So they are the drivers. And I'm talking about strictly in business. I'm not talking about so much as in a relationship. So certain ones can step back and be subtle, whereas other ones are going to, they're going to do things a certain type of way. And I don't think that is really a race thing. I think that's just a personality, honestly, because I've seen it on both sides.
Yeah, I think that the masculine part play a big role when it comes to, I'm gonna just say black women in general. A lot of us are very, I'm not gonna say too independent. Well, too independent. Yeah. A lot of us are raised different. So all the way from single parents to getting it on your own. So when you get with a man, it's hard to be with a man to where you allowing him to take the lead.
But I'm sorry, you're right. But what I also will say in that same the caveat to this is, you with the man and allowing him to take the role, you ain't gotta allow a real man to take a role. He just gonna come in there and do. And then when you see it, because remember, men equate love with respect, women equate love with security. So once a man makes her feel secure, you know what I'm saying, then she automatically falls back. I don't care how masculine she is, because I have a lot of masculinity in me because of the business that I'm in and how I operate business. I'm a very, feminine woman, but I'm just saying that's how you have to be in this kind of field. Yeah. But the thing about it, watch you get punched in the stomach. You know what I'm saying? Right in the stomach. And so, but at the end of the day, you have to be that way, because like I said, even in the field.
Well, I don't mean it in that. Okay, for example, there was a guy that I was dating, and I was the type that he took me on a date, and I didn't allow him to pay. I was like, nah, I'll pay for myself, and my stepdad at the time, my mom was married to, he was the type that, I can't say he was definitely a man. And he told me, he said, you need to start allowing that man to, pay or allow him to do certain things. He said, let him be a man, let a man be a man, and sometimes, you want a man gotta feel needed. Like they feel like they ain't needing their relationship. Like, dang, what can I really do for her? Like she do everything on her own. I need to feel needed. Like I don't even feel like I'm needed here.
Well, thank the Lord. I ain't never
Right.
been
Well,
that
see,
guy.
okay. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, I was saying I was just laughing, saying thank the Lord. I ain't never been that kind of woman. But go ahead, Coach.
Okay, so what? Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to say this when it comes to the submissive. I'm an educator, so therefore I see it daily now. And I want to speak for the blacks first. I want to speak for our race first. We don't, and not all of us. Some of us, not all of us. I grew up in a 2-parent home for a while. My parents did eventually divorce, but a lot of us as black women with the submissive, we're not submissive because we've learned from our mothers who were single. So therefore we haven't seen a male presence. Not everybody. I'm not saying that. So when that word comes submissive, we need to, just kind of think about it. And that's what upsets me when it comes to men. I'm a life coach. And that's what upsets me with men because they want to talk about the submissive role. But a lot of us African-American women, because white women stay. A lot of them stay.
Correct.
They're going to stay through it all.
That's right. Because
I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, he can have that white man can have. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A woman and a boyfriend. Go ahead.
There you go. They're going to stay, and they're going to be submissive to live that comfortable life.
Correct.
Yep. Now, one thing about us as African American women, a lot of us, we're gonna go, and we're gonna struggle. We're gonna raise these kids. We're gonna do what we have to do.
Correct.
And so and see, right. And so here's the thing. That's why a lot of us, when a lot of men want to say, oh, she this, you, first of all, you have to give us time to get there because especially when we haven't lived that life, we're still learning. Because one thing that I do know, a single black woman cannot teach her daughter how to be a submissive woman. I'm just going to be honest. She's struggling with 3 and 4 children. And with different daddies, and they are not there. You cannot. How can somebody teach you that? I can't imagine my mama teaching me how to be submissive, and she didn't have a man that stays.
So now I'm gonna say I wouldn't say disagree because you're right. Because we're talking about not an individual, we are talking about a mass group, and I do agree,
right,
100%, yes, ma'am. And I want to add to that. Let me say that. So I'll say, and when I was I was married for many years, and matter of fact, I've been married actually twice, but I'm single, but I raised my daughter basically still single because her daddy was in the military. So, sometimes he go overseas and, he gone for a year or whatever.
My dad was too. Yep.
Right. So, and then I basically made, and he was the type of man, he was a real strong man and I could, run things, through him, but he always said, you always make good decisions. So whatever you say, that's what we'll do. And that's how it was. But then also my father, I grew up in a 2-parent household. They divorced when I was 19, and my daddy was a man's man. I saw him at his highest, and I saw him at his lowest in their marriage. But it was a lot of things that he taught me. And the one thing that he taught me, and I'm chocolate for for context, but when growing up, it wasn't really in my time, and I'm 54 too, for context. And so it wasn't really popular to be chocolate. Now everybody wants chocolate now, but at the one time, you know what I'm saying, they didn't really want that. So the self-esteem and all those kinds of things, he always boosted those things up with me. So I was glad for that. And he himself taught me love. And so my mom, on the flip side, she did, and she was a married woman. She didn't, but my daddy did. So now fast forward when I had my daughter, and like I said, when me and her dad split up, was together, he was gone, and then same thing, I taught her how to be. Now what I also taught her is, again, that you have to be careful in how you conduct yourself, because one thing about a man, he don't know nothing. He'll try anything and he'll try anybody. So and because of the businesses that I've been in, I'm not one of them. I'm my own person. So like I was saying before, even when she was a little hard, I said, no, you don't do it like that, because you saw that, because I had very, open conversations with her, because I wanted her to understand, yeah, you saw me going through and being rude to some men, granted, because I knew what type of man that was. I knew what he had for me. You see what I'm saying? He come up to me looking at my hips and my butt. Guess what? I knew what he had for me. He got the same thing for me as he had for every female around over there. So yeah, I'm going to be rude to him, because I already know his intentions are no good. But then I brought into, the other relationships that I had, that I didn't have to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Period. Because he showed me who he was. And as strong as masculine, like I said, a lot of times as I am in business, I remember this guy that I saw, he was my absolute soulmate, but he actually died a few years ago, and from an accident. But I remember, like, he was trying to talk to me, and I was, being insulting, because he was dark skinned too, and I didn't like chocolate at the time. So I'm insulting him. I'm being mad. I'm like, oh nigga, wait, where your lights, where your red bones? You know what I'm saying? Clowning him at the same time. Well, we went on a trip, a day trip, laughing and joking. By the time he came back, I was thinking to myself, did he put something on me? Because I am crazy. But it was nuts. So anyway, long story short, we started, with the relationship or whatever. And I remember one time I said, oh, you say when I'll smack you. He said, in a real calm voice. It was real calm. He said, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't put my hands on you, and you're not going to put your hands on me. So you can sit down with that. And this, the way he spoke to me in that authority, I was kind of like, ooh, I had been put in my place. You know what I'm saying? And I respected him, because, like I said, anything I needed, it was there. So he didn't ask my permission. He just did. Report cards come in, whatever. He know DeAndre wasn't his biological child, obviously, but she had to show him her report card as well. You know what I'm saying?
Because he's the man in the house.
Yeah, but we didn't live together. No, we didn't live together. He wasn't even the man in the house. You know what I'm saying? We were just dating. But and it was kind of funny, because it just was that. I'm like, most men, will acknowledge that. He just said, hey, let me see what the grades is. Oh, it seemed like to me, you want to be, and the two of us would go back and forth, like what I had seen growing up, with my parents. But it was straight out that he was a man. Didn't ask, he just stepped in. And it was right.
A man is going to come in and just make changes in command.
Hello. And that's what I was saying to Crystal, that when a man is a man, he don't let you do it. I had another guy I was dating, and I'm so used to, we go out, on a date. I'm opening my door. He said, don't open that door. And I had to catch myself, because I'm just so used to just jumping out and opening the door. He didn't let me open no doors, in or out. Obviously pay for anything, because I know that part. But it just was a jump. He didn't ask my permission. He told me, hey, no, you don't do that.
Oh, that's a man.
Yes, a man.
And you say that because I do the same thing, because even like with my daughter, my bonus daughter, any woman that's in my presence, I dare you to touch that door handle. I dare you to go and do certain things, and they know that, because I understand you can do it, but you're now dealing with a man that does it. You know what I'm saying? And I need you to understand the type of man that you need to start dealing with is a man that is going to be that hands-on type of man. Correct. If that man is not opening your door, if that man is not pulling out his wallet, and I'm not sitting here saying that a man has to pay. It's not saying that you can't go take this man on a date, because you have a certain level of independence. Absolutely. I'm not saying you can't ask this man and say, hey, let's go on a date and you take care of the bill. No, I'm saying as a standard, us as men, again, the level of how you respect us is letting us be a man. Period. You know what I'm saying? If that man ain't, look, I might be petty, but if that man can't change a tire, you better have some money that you got AAA to come and change it for you. If that man ain't open the doors, come on. Look, I'm not saying that nowadays. I'm not saying a man needs to know how to change the tire. It's a good quality to have, because you just never know where you at. But you better have some money to have that AAA.
He's got to be a problem solver. I 100% agree with you.
A problem solver. I need you to solve the problem.
Be a problem solver. Yes, please be a problem solver. Because if not, like the young lady was talking about, a single mother can't teach a young lady how to be a submissive woman, and she's been taking charge of everything. You have to take charge as a man in a woman's life like that.
or she's always been a problem solver, she's not going to relinquish anything. I don't care if you her daddy, grandma,
Not at all.
whatever, because she's always been the person to take care
There
of
you go.
everything.
That's right. 100. And that's what I was saying. Yeah, she gonna.
So
That's what I was saying.
it doesn't matter what race it is. So like I've dated multi races as well. So I've dated white men, I've dated Vietnamese men, I've dated black men. It don't matter what kind of man it is. It's the principle and the character of the person, pretty much.
100.
And I heard you all saying something earlier that I wanted to agree with, like wholeheartedly. When I was saying Godmother say that, I don't care if the man is in church. If you don't have values of morals of your own, you're gonna meet the same person if they are red, black, and yellow, white, whatever they precious in his sight. Jesus love the little children of the world.
That's
you
right.
gonna run into the same issue. So it's like people gotta doggone get their own morals and values and standards that they stand by. People like to say these cliche things, saying if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Well, they seem to fall for everything that come around, but can say the words, but don't have any standards that they own to stand on.
Come on.
Go ahead now.
So it's like, with all these different things, I don't care if it's a white dude that held the door or a black dude that held the door. After that, what's his actions that's following that? Because what I've learned hanging around men is not what they say. Because it used to be a saying, don't let a black man talk to you. He gonna talk your panties off. But can't do nothing besides talk to you. It's not what they say, it's the actions.
That's right. And on top of that, I think we as a people in general, male and female, we have to stop putting each other down. Because that's another thing about that. Because at the end of the day, we are, and it don't matter if we first, second, third, or whatever case may be. We are God's chosen people. We are the first, and we are strong. We are. When you look at all the inventions and all the different things and stuff like that we've done, but a lot of times, see, a lot of the other things I was going to touch back on what Coach was saying earlier about a single woman, teaching. Teaching her daughter how to be submissive, and because when she's used to dealing with everything, and I do agree with that. And I would like to say it's because of the fact that, women from the time that from when little boys, we're like little kids, the responsibility that the mother puts on the son and what she puts on the daughter is different than day and night. The little boy can run out there and kill the man with the ball all day. He can be dirty. You know what I'm saying? If he fall and hurt himself and skin his knee, he can't cry because he got to be a man. Soon as somebody looking at him, she the first person to, and with single women, most of them, the reason why most of these men are so rotten today is because it's she who is speaking negatively about another woman to her son. She telling him, oh, I am not going to let them old nasty gals get my baby. You know what I'm saying? Your mama going to do everything for you. And what she's told him from day one is all women are nasty except for your mama. Okay. And then she's doing every single thing to him to include not holding him accountable. Okay. The little girl, she got to wash dishes and clean up, but he ain't got to go through and do anything. You know what I'm saying? All he got to do is look out there and play sports. So because of that, he's taught he doesn't know how to communicate properly. He has expectation that a woman is supposed to do.
Say that, Godmother. Say that. Say
it. Yes. Yeah. He has the expectation that a woman is supposed to do everything for him, and that they're nasty, and that only one that's good for him is his mama. See, this is the narrative that she's creating because of the fact. So now, if he's heard that from a little boy, from a baby up until he's a man, and no accountability, then that man doesn't know how to be a man. So now then you also got them saying once, what you don't do, somebody else will do. So now you got these women out here letting men do this, and that. And remember, mama told them that they was nasty anyway, right? That nasty little girl. So now you got them out there doing all this nasty stuff, and you ain't marrying, you ain't committing, you ain't doing none of those things to that woman. She's just for entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And then all the rap music, all the music came out, and when women went from being women to B's and and H's. You know what I'm saying? And then women start using that as a term of endearment. You know what I'm saying? Like she, like that, like that's cool. So it's been generations and generations of just simply downgrading us as a people. And that is what's got to stop.
And so even with that, tying that into the whole ethnicity race card, it's about what was taught. Correct. All of the circles around to what was actually taught. And I think PGT said it. I think Crystal said it. I think Coach said it. When it boils down to your ethnic background, who you choose to be with, it don't matter what they look like. It's all about who are they as the person that they are. You know what I'm saying? Who are they as the person that they are? You know what I mean?
Well, going back to what PG Tay was saying as well is that, again, and I've said this a thousand times. Watch a person, watch what they do. Don't watch them and criticism wanting them to fail, but just watch them. Just step back. Don't have step back and watch unbiasedly, and watch how they move, and allow them to be able to do the thing. But understand. But most of all, understand, because I hear a lot of women say, "I know my worth." Well, if you know your worth, you ain't never offering to pay for dinner. Period. Because etiquette says in every single way, well, if I ask you out to dinner, I pay. Right? So if a man say, I'm gonna take you out, then why are you pulling out your wallet? And you gotta know that, because you're a queen. So it's a lot of times things have come through and people said, and I said, listen, I'm not gonna get down off my throne and throw tomatoes with the peasants. I'm not gonna do that. You feel me? I know who I am. So I'm gonna have a certain behavior, because if I step down from where I am instead of making them step up, then am I really who I say I am?
So you got to make people step
up.
Because
I was dating a guy and his cousin was a gay man, and he was like, "Let me tell you something. These men know, and when they with each other, they know, and when they have to come and tell you, they know, they know." So if you saying you know your worth, they gonna check you to see if you really know what your worth is. Like Godmother said, if he taking you out on a date, why you pulling out your wallet? And why did you reach for the door and you with a man? Why you touching your car door when you with a man? Why in the world is he not coming to bring the napkin to put on your lap to make sure, like when you with a man? These men know what to do.
They know
Even if the thing is that a single mama can raise a man. I don't know why men keep saying that out their mouth, but like Coach said, you got these young women who bossing up and being the man and the woman because they ain't had no man in their life to show them a man. They don't know the difference, but these men, they do. They know how they want their mama to be treated, all soft and nice and da 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 da. But then you raising sand. Cause like Godmother said, oh, they ain't never had to wash no dish. They butt dirty. They ain't had to clean their bed or wash their sheets or nothing or fold the clothes. The sisters always got in trouble and then had to do the same work they did and do chores. Raising these sorry men. I wish.
That's it. Well, I am love support says can't no woman raise a man to be a man. I disagree with that. I know she can, because at the end of the day, long story short, it's especially when she understands what a man is. Now, if she understands what a man is, just like I just said before, when I was saying about how they have the different standards for the little boy as opposed to the girl. But when she makes him stand, you know what I'm saying? If he's going to cry, she's going to let him go and get that out, have a communication, make him accountable. I know for a fact, I two little boys that I had, they weren't, I had my two sons died at birth, but I actually raised two other little boys, or three other actual little boys. They weren't not mine biologically, but let me tell you something. Right now, they come over there and they always, the two of them call me auntie, one call me mom, and they be like, it was you who taught me. You told me. Now their daddy was right there, but he didn't know nothing because he was from the old school. He was very much a gentleman for me, but he didn't know how to teach them that. I remember when his oldest son came up to him and say, Dad, I got another kid. So he was like, what? And he like giving him a pound. I said, wait a minute, hold on now.
You said something though. So there's a difference between raising and teaching.
Correct.
There's a difference between raising and teaching, right?
Right.
I was just about to touch on that. I was just about to touch on that.
Raising a man, a woman. I agree. A woman can't raise a man
to be no man. Only a man can raise a man to be a man. At the end of the day, you take care of them. You can get him clothes, food, all that, but you cannot raise no man to be no man if you're not a man. At the end of the day,
but you can teach him value.
You can teach him things, and you
that's
are
what makes him a man.
Woman,
right?
Your responsibility is
I gotta disagree with Crystal. I gotta disagree because I'm a single mama and I raised a man, and my son is a man. He ain't no soft man, and when I put him out. He can doggone cook, clean, and take care of a household, balance a checkbook, pay bills. He is a man. He knows responsibility. humility. He knows accountability because his mama raised him that
That's
way.
right.
Now, I did teach him values, but the thing is that he has to stand on his own morals and values and standards for his own life because we all are human and we make choices. But when I raised him, there was no choice. I raised him. When you go to school and you teach somebody something, they have to absorb what you teach. This is what's learned. What's learned is what is seen. Not what's taught.
Hold on.
You put in though. You did put people in his life.
All the things.
Well, yeah, we always got a village. We always got a village, but at the end of the day, even with the village, that she said she was still very much there, and she held him accountable.
She was very much into it.
Yes,
very much into it.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is to highlight on that. You did.
I mean, as like a single mother, as a parent.
Hold on for a second.
Hold on for a second.
Yeah, I want to hear what she's saying.
Hold on one second. I agree 100% with Peachy Tay says. You raised him, and you raised him in an environment to where he still had influences from the males in his life.
Exactly.
What males, Marlon? Like other than you? Because let me tell you something. I was a single mother his whole time. It was men around being boys, but as far as instilling values and stuff, I had to raise that up out of him.
Right.
Just because somebody is around, just like people can be married and they can be single in a marriage. Just because you married to a man don't mean you got a good marriage. He present, he may pay some bills, but he ain't giving you no values or nothing to the person or the people that's in that household. They might sit on the couch. Every time you come in the room, they don't say nothing. They are in the house. You don't know what's going on behind the closed doors. I am a single mother. I was single after I got pregnant. To this very day, I'm still a single parent. When my son went through college, my money put him through college, not a penny from nobody else. I am a single parent that raised a man. I didn't teach him.
That's right.
I raised a young
boy. This is what I have always said. That's right. So
when people say that, I don't like when they say that. I do not like when they say that.
What I'm saying, because
it's not a truth. It's a cliche term that people like to throw out, and there's no truth to it.
That's right.
Because I lived a life. I don't need a t-shirt. I got the stretch marks and the sun that's alive and well to prove it. It's wrong. It's a false statement.
And to be honest, I'm not even trying to be funny, and I'm really speaking facts. And ladies, if you agree, let me know, because a lot of time, even in these 2-parent homes with these African American men, I'm just being honest. They don't teach these boys how. It's still the women. Because I'm gonna tell you like this: my mom, my aunt, my brother played sports. Ask me how many times my daddy went to a game. Now he paid for it. Now, but my mama was running behind us in sports and activities. These men don't do that.
They don't do nothing.
They don't do that.
That's right. And when people start saying about a man can teach a man, and when
I'm a man, y'all know, right?
But we not talking about. We
didn't say all.
I'll take it a step further, coach. My son's father was an assistant football coach on the little league, but who had to get up, make sure he had breakfast snacks,
there you go,
washed, and be on the football field on the side. But the daddy had on the uniform, like he was part of the team. He had a hoodie to match, had on Jordans and everything.
Oh, but hold on. On top of that, not only making sure he had snacks for each day, but you also tell him to get up and brush his teeth and take a shower and all this other stuff.
And make sure he took a bath.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah. See, and that's what I was saying. I was going back to say with Crystal too. When they talk when a man can reach a man, first of all, we ain't got a lot of men out there. We got a lot of males, but we ain't got a lot of men out there.
There you go.
The comments, okay? So no, they can't. And if you talking about you got 20 males out there, and you out of the 20, you only got maybe 2 or 1.5. You know what I'm saying? And now the DL population even more so. And even if they DL don't really mean nothing, that don't really mean that they still can't teach them morals. They're what they choose, for their sexuality is their business.
Right.
But I'm saying still go through with this. So when you start talking about that, just because he is a male does not mean that he is a man. Because just like I said, myself, my ex-husband, when our son came up to him and said, "Dad, I got another kid coming," it was like, yo, man, he was acting like he was talking to one of his homeboys. And I said, hey, hold on now. Y'all sitting up here like this. What baby is this? Faux mom. I said, hey, let me tell you something. Not another one. You know what I'm saying? Not another one. Because outside of the kids, because we love the kids, right? There's a responsibility that comes with raw Max. You know what I'm saying? Because you gotta be careful with TikTok. Raw Max. There is a responsibility that comes with that. Okay, we got the baby, we're gonna love the baby, but now what happens to the disease and the soul ties and all this other stuff like that comes along with that rawness? Absolutely not. You know good and well you playing games and you doing whatever, not another kid. And he looked at me real funny because when me and his daddy got married, he was 19. Okay. So I'm definitely not, it was no influences there, but I spoke just like that. And I said, you understand me? And he said, yeah, Mom. And that was it. You feel me? And so when he went through, he said, Mom, he said, I don't care. When me and his daddy broke up, he said, I don't care what happened between he crying. You always my mom because you told me things that nobody, my mama didn't tell me and my daddy didn't tell me. And you always kept it 100. And everything you ever told me, whether I liked it at the time or not, you was right on point. And when he would hear different things, he said, man, Mom told me this. And that gave him even more respect because I told him, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm your parent. You feel me?
Yeah.
Don't matter if I didn't get that's it. I'm your parent.
Let's bring it back in for just a second, right? So everybody that's just joining us, this is the 100 podcast. Topic for tonight, interracial relationships. I know we kind of went off. We all got passionate, so that just tells me when we get passionate about something, that needs a topic that I need to bring into it. So understand that this will be a topic for the next go around. But let's bring it back in for just a second. And we were talking about interracial internal biases and uncomfortable conversations, right? This all kind of went to those uncomfortable conversations, thinking about how you're raising someone and the influence that someone that may be of a different ethnicity, race, whatever you want to call it, can have on it, right? So what happens when the race becomes an issue or a conflict? The question that I pose is, can love survive if one partner refuses to acknowledge the other's lived experiences? So we got to bring this back into those lived experiences. Of course, us as African American, well, I identify as a Black person. I don't do African American. I'm Black. My lived experiences are going to be different from what someone of, let's say, outside of Caucasian or Hispanic or European, whatever. My lived experiences are going to be far different. Just like my lived experiences are as a Black man is going to be different from those from a Black woman, right? But can love survive if one partner refuses to acknowledge the other's lived experience?
But no matter whether they acknowledge it or not, you know what I'm saying, they don't have nothing to do with love. If you are fine, and I think sometimes, like I said this a million times, I think people too loose with the word love. When you love, you accept any and everything because that's what love does. You know what I'm saying? It's blind. It's not. It's kind. It's gentle. It doesn't hurt. So that's it. So if you love them, then your experience is your experience. That's not my experience. You know what I'm saying? But I still love you, and from that we're gonna move forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's how that goes.
I think it can be challenged, Marlon, because like you said, like we see it in everyday life. A man's experience of being a Black man in America, or being a Black woman in America nowadays, with different heightened things going on, different climates going on, the rise of the Black female in corporate America, the fall of it, taking the Black man out of families, making him the head and making the government. More Black women saying, I can get this government money if I don't have a man in the household. It's different things that have changed those dynamics. So we won't know how anybody feels. However, I think healthy conversations and listening to them and showing empathy, not sympathy, but empathizing for them, because I think Godmother said it earlier in the statement when you all were talking about a different topic, how when you have some people that are within the church, what they'll do is they will baby somebody till it's like a crutch for them to be, I don't remember the exact word, but I'm going to use the word sorry. It's okay, baby. It's okay. No, it's not okay.
Right.
So just because you went to jail 30 years ago, you've had 30 years since you came out to make your life better. It's your life decision. So holding people accountable and not, giving them a crutch, not sympathizing for them. Okay, bro, I understand. You can share your story. Now what you doing today? Or like the climate now with ICE. We don't know how the tension is between Latina women and Latina men or Latino men. We don't know the climate between Caucasian females with Latino men in their household, whether they're married or not, their children. We, we may be able to empathize with them because of how Black people or Africans or Hispanics, when they came here as slaves to the Americas, we can empathize with them, but now we can like give them grace or help them through while they're going through. We don't want to sympathize with them because America ain't giving us no sympathy. We can try to really help them look at what's happening, see the picture, and help them move forward or keep walking one step at a time. But I think it does challenge the love in a relationship because the love is put on the sidelines when you face with other things like that.
Well, I think the thing about it is the love, right? Because the key is to respect it. It's a respect to be able to say, "Hey, I don't know what it's like." Even whether you're interracial or you with the same race, I don't understand what it feels like to be a Black man. I don't know what it's like to be, a Black boy, whatever. However, so you acknowledge whatever that feeling is. But like you said, you acknowledge whatever their feelings are, unless they put themselves in victim mode, poor me, and they still poor me all this long time, then that's a choice that they made to go through and be lesser than and not greater. But so you can acknowledge it and respect it and then move on. Because what else you gonna do? Right. So that's the point. You just gotta just keep, pushing on and making sure that that they feel hurt. And I think most of the time when people are having a hard time or a discussion or they're mad, it's because they don't feel heard. So you heard them, you hear them out, whether you agree or disagree, and then move on. If this person, and like I said, if love is where you are and y'all make a commitment to work it out. If it's just a play thing, then it's a little bit different. And I guess this is the discovery part of that too during the dating time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna do any of this without you. So I'm taking over the podcast for right now. So our next topic, and bear with me because I'm new to this podcast stuff. So our next topic is gonna be about raising children and identity. How would you guys go about teaching your children about race, being respectful to inner relationships, or how would you have that conversation with them when like they see someone that's like them, same race, with someone else that's not them?
That's a good question. I mean that's a real situation, because I will say my ex-husband, the second son was biracial. And I didn't know exactly we didn't know which race he was going to gravitate to, there's a lot of little white girls had a lot of crush on him, they had a crush on him. He was a good looking little kid. And I was always terrified because at the end of the day, though he was biracial, Black was in him, so I didn't know exactly how other people would how they would really receive him. And I knew that he would be, built up like his father, and he did, and like he's really a beige version of his father. So he was, big tall guy, big hands, big everything. And so I was like, that terrified me in a lot of ways, and I didn't want to tell him that he had to look at Black girls or look at white girls, or don't bring no white girl to my house. Because I mean, what I would have said to my Black son, I didn't say that to him because I wanted to be respectful that he is of two. So that was a really, and that was something that challenged. I don't know that I ever really, had an answer. I just kind of let things go, I just, had to let it kind of just grow, because it was a lot, and I wanted to be respectful to him because I didn't know how he felt.
But
question for you, because you said that your son was biracial, but so you wouldn't have the conversation with him about which way to go, but your fully black son, your conversation with him would be different because he's fully black.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I would have had that conversation with him different because I mean, the idea is we can't use your comb and don't bring her home. That was my thing. That was truly my thing. But I mean, with him, with my biracial son, I didn't do that to him. I just let him choose his love. Now, even with the other ones, I said, hey, here's the thing. I prefer you to stick with your own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But if you find something, but then love is love. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel like parents definitely play a part in how their kids view interrelationships, whether they're going to be in one, whether they're not going to be in one. I'm going to use me and my brother, for example. My dad was not with interracial relationships at all. Like that is not happening. I remember being in middle school, at that time, all the girls has a crush on Justin Bieber. I had a crush on Justin Bieber, had him as my lock screen. That was not okay. That had to change. No. So for me, I was like, oh, okay, black it is. Like I'm going black because my dad was against it. But my brother, on the other hand, he dates outside of his race. And I don't know, I feel like for one, your parents definitely influence how you look at interrelationships, because even still to now, I don't see myself dating outside of my race. They could be like the best man on paper. I just don't see that I would do it, but that's because of how I was raised. But for my brother, he's okay with it, but also I feel like it's a two-way street when you're a woman and a man. I feel like, I guess men pray like or will have the talk with their sons, or like other males in the family will have the talk with the boys that, oh, that's okay, or like, hype them up like, oh yeah, like a guy thing. But when it comes to the woman, it's like, oh no, that's not okay. Like you need to stick to your race. Like,
Yeah,
and it's not. I feel like it's not even just like with like the males of the family. I feel like that's just a thing in the black community as a whole, that they praise the black men for going outside of their race versus the women. The women get, talked about and put through the mud. But I definitely feel like the parents play a part into like how that goes as well.
Well, I think I'm in agreement with you. The parents definitely do play a vital role, but that's not just in the blacks, that's in the whites. Because a lot of white families are also told stick with your own. I mean,
Right.
even in the days of the Bible, they want you to stick with your own to keep the bloodline strong. You know what I'm saying? So that's been something that we all have. You have the same thing with Latinos, and here's another thing: you even have a lot with like Jamaicans and stuff. They might come over here and marry somebody or whatever to get their papers, but when they are legal or whatever the case may be, they always go back and marry their own. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's a natural thing, and I don't think there's anything really wrong with that per se. I mean, if you like your brother, he said, he didn't really do the outside thing, but this girl, seems to hit all of his buttons. Well, and I can agree with that. And I don't even disagree with the relationship. It sounds like it's, a pretty well, put like the relationship could work. So there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, I also feel like the reason why that is because it's a pride. And so again, there's some that wholeheartedly just love people for people. But then, I mean, we should have a pride in who we are. We're not better because we're with a white man or because we're with a white woman. We have who we are regardless. And if that happens to be the person that we're blessed with, black, white, yellow or whatever, then that's cool. But I would prefer, like my daughter, she's lighter skinned and she wants little black babies. And, and I'm okay same thing. I would love a little chocolate grandbaby as well. So, it's just a preference. I just think the black skin is beautiful. And,
Right.
and I have a beige niece, and like I said, a beige son, the whole nine, and they were good looking. They were good looking kids as well. But, and we love them just the same. And, if I had a choice, I would prefer her to marry a strong black man and be a strong black family.
Right.
That's what I don't want to see dissolve.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with that as well. I feel like if I don't have kids right now, but if I had kids, only I think also because of like how I grew up, and then I mean because I grew up like that, my values are kind of like instilled in me, so I'm not deterring from that. I mean, I'm 27, so like I don't see it, going any other way. But I have these conversations where I would have the talk with my race. But I feel like I did kind of pick up on maybe some bad values, or like bad outlooks on in relationships due to like how I was raised and stuff like that. So I would try to do it maybe more in like a respectful way, to where like it's not bashing them or seeming racist, but more so on why it's better, if that's not offensive to say, but like why it's kind of better to like stick with your own race, or like marry inside of your own race than build up, the
Well, let me ask
black
you something.
family.
Where's your father from originally?
Originally born in Jackson, Mississippi, and then
Okay.
moved to Atlanta, Georgia.
So that's what I was going to say. A lot of times, from the South, and same thing for me is Miami to South Carolina. But the reality of it is that, when they share those things with you because of the experiences. I mean, there's a lot of very, very horrible stories, come in. So the whole point is you stay on your side, and you stay, and let them stay on theirs. And I don't
Right.
disagree with that, because it's really bad. So but you can usually tell where a person. Most of the people are more liberal when they have come from the North. But when they
Yeah.
come from the South is very segregated, and there's some horror stories down generations. He could tell some, his parents could tell some, their parents could tell some, etc. And it was just horrible. So, and certain
Right.
places it is plagued with that. So it's not even that you're not looking at the advantages of it, because I don't really see it like it is an advantage. Honestly, I just feel like, when you look at the way that some of them do, the majority of them do things, is, yeah, like, yo, like what, and my mother would always say, and I never understood why she would say this until probably maybe about 2 months ago, honestly. She said the worst thing that happened to the black to black people was when they integrated schools. And I didn't understand that. You know what I'm saying? I thought, well, man, that's just, mean. What's wrong with that? But now I see what she was saying, because when that happened, we had a certain respect that, we were raised. It wasn't the whole thing like, cursing your mom out or yelling at her or whatever like that. Or, you can't beat me or whatever. We had there was a conduct, there was expectation, there was accountability, there was prayer, there was all that. When they were open up to other things, then that's where a lot of the problems kind of came in at, because then came in stuff like even oral sex. In the time that I was, in school, it was unheard of to, do X, Y, and or Z. That was something that they did. Anal sex, all that kind of stuff, which I'm still don't do none of it, but still, that was something that is what, that what they brought on. That wasn't something that we had and they would do it because they were saving their, their vaginal parts for when they got married. See what I'm saying? And then you see now that the anal thing is a ritual. You know what I'm saying? And it's also demonic, and it's, it's sodomy, and it's not, it's not, God doesn't, he doesn't want that. So it's just, again, so much stuff that they did culturally, and as opposed to, what we were. But when we were integrated, then we were exposed to certain things that, we just we don't do. That's not acceptable. So.
Right. Well, I definitely think our topics and like our conversation is great. So do we think that love is enough when cultural understanding is missing? Should your partner have to prove they're not racist, or should awareness already be there and exist?
Well, I think a lot of times I know people who are racist, but they have black, or they have whatever. I mean, I have some friends, I mean, they are racist. They're not friends, but I mean, I know some women, and they are racist. They are, but they do have black, spouses or whatever the case may be. But that serves them for what's good for them. But because
Right.
they like that black person, but that's not when as whole how they talk about the
Yeah.
culture is completely different.
I also feel like if they're racist, in my opinion, they really don't like their black partner. Um, because in my opinion, if you're going to be in an interracial relationship, you need to, regardless of your race, you need to understand the struggles that your partner has or is going to encounter, and you need to be a person that is going to advocate and speak for them, or don't be with them. And I feel like a lot of times um people choose to be, I'm going to use black people because that's what they tend to go for when their parents are not okay with them dating outside of their race. I feel like a lot of times they get with another race simply because their parents told them not to, and they know their family's racist, or they know the family doesn't like it, but they want to rebel, so they are like, oh, I'm going to go do this. And obviously they were raised by their parents, and not every time are they racist as well. But I feel like if you're not advocating for your partner, if you aren't aware of their struggles, if you don't care, if you're not speaking up for them, if you're not on the movements that they're on, I feel like in my eyes, you in a sense are racist, or you're not fully there. And I don't think it's just that they're okay with their partner. They're okay with their partner for the time being, but I feel like there's malicious intent, or like something that they're getting out of it. Like let's take celebrities for examples, or like these athletes. A lot of them do what they need to do, get pregnant by them, just so that they can, you know, right, and then they're going to go back onto their own race because they have now made sure that they're great financially and that their families are set down the line. So we're used as that crutch for them to then go back to their race to, make their bloodline better.
Well, remember again, that's what I was saying earlier when Crystal was on. Is that they're taught that. That's what they're taught. They
Yeah.
married for security. It doesn't mean for love.
Yep.
So they got to give you a kid to make sure that then that's what they do. So
And they play the long game.
correct.
For sure.
And do.
Absolutely.
I'm going to turn it back over to Marlon to finish this off.
Look. Look, I gotta feed her. You know what I mean? I had to go cook.
Oh, true.
Hey, look, we over here having wine and stuff, so I had to go throw some steaks on right quick. Y'all know how I do in the cooking, so we ain't even surprised. But this topic, it stood out. I definitely wanted to kind of highlight on some things, because I think, as my growth and at this big age that I'm at now, that there are some people that miss a lot of opportunities of not being open to someone else that could be that person just because they don't look like you. You know what I'm saying? It's not for everybody.
Right, but I also think you need to have an attraction for a person. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. That was the whole attraction versus awareness aspect of it. That was point number one. You missed that part. That was point number one. Attraction versus awareness. What initially drew you into that interracial relationship. Understanding that Are you in love with the person or the idea of the person? You know, it could be that, oh, this person got, you know, they're successful. They're you know, they're this guy and this, that, and the other. Um, you know, it was those particular aspects that we was kind of harping on. But at the end of the day, I think it's like this. And this is my closing. I think interracial love isn't harder because of race. I think it's harder because it forces people to confront things that they spent a lifetime avoiding. Again, just like, you know, my bonus daughter said, she was taught a certain thing. You know, we can't say whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent. This is what she was taught. But we spent a lifetime avoiding certain things because of what we were taught. And a lot of times we have to learn how or choose to reprogram ourselves. You know what I mean? To say, hey, I want to experience something different outside of my preference. You know what I mean?
Well, I will say, in that too, in certain situations, like when she mentioned about her father and I asked him where she was, ask her where he was from, and she said Jackson, Mississippi, and so that made a lot more sense. You know, because I'm sure he's run across a whole lot. There's sometimes some things you can't come back from. So maybe you
Yeah.
curious, but at the end of the day, if it's forbidden fruit, it's forbidden fruit. So I respectfully disagree with that for that purpose, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, especially on the certain fronts and stuff. I mean, even when me and Brian was dating, his parents was like straight out KKK almost. You know what I'm saying, but by the time it all ended up, and he married the woman he's with now and had the grandbaby, they changed. So, time does change, and who knows if that's why they were the way they were, but he was the way he was too. So, but I didn't feel no type of way about that, for Allendale, but being some other places I don't really know. North Carolina in the mountains or whatever, I can't say I would be so open, you know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, I definitely agree with that. You know what I mean? Where you're at, where you're from, plays a very big part. Um, but sometimes you have to break across those cultural barriers. That's that's just my opinion. You know, I'm a lot more open to it now, um, because it goes back to the previous comments that everyone had. You know, love has no color. Love has no boundaries. You know, to each his own. You know, I'm not the one, again, like my shirt says. I am not a therapist. I'm just a man who's been through some things. I've been through enough things, you know. I've I've dated from all nationalities. So, but I think it's just a choice you have to make at the end of the day. That's what it boils down to.
Right.
Um, but man, Godmother, you always be dropping some jewels. Crystal always dropping some jewels. Coach Nikki dropped some jewels. Everybody, Peachy Tay dropped some jewels. Everybody was, dropping some jewels and everything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, 'cause this is it's one of those topics that people try to kind of stay away from, but I think it's something that has to be talked about. You know what I mean? Um, but tomorrow we got a good one. Y'all know I like a little controversy. So tomorrow's topic is why we hold back, what it protects, and what it can destroy. Basically in a relationship, why do we hold back from being our true selves in the beginning? Are you protecting yourself, or are you preventing, someone from truly loving you? So we gonna dive in that tomorrow. We're not gonna get into it tonight, because I think this is gonna be a good topic for tomorrow, to definitely have a conversation about. Um, is it wrong to hide parts of yourself when getting to know someone? So
Yeah, definitely.
we gonna talk about it tomorrow though. Um, But look, I appreciate everybody. I love everyone. Appreciate everybody's support. Um, Godmother, I'll drop you down so you keep them coins up there. You got
All right.
anything you want to add?
No, it was good. The ladies tonight were great. Coach Peachy Tay and Crystal,
Yeah,
and your daughter, same thing.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was really good.
yeah,
So I want to thank the
absolutely.
ladies for their awesome input. Yeah.
Let me see
And,
one
I think
second
another
before
one.
I drop you down. Everybody that's in the comments, I need you guys to unfollow me and follow me back. Unfollow me and follow me back. So everybody in the comments, unfollow me, follow me back. That's how we get traction here.
Followed you back.
Got it. That'll work.
Where you go, Mom? Mom? Mother.
All right,
All
I just
right.
did it too. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys. Yo, we'll
You're
catch you
welcome.
guys tomorrow, man. We got a good one going on tomorrow. The input for tonight was phenomenal. All right.
All
So
right.
everybody have a good night. Let me go over here and finish cooking these steaks because
Did you put me down?
I'm gonna put you down now. Got you covered.
All right. Good night.
All right, everybody. Have a good night. Um, Appreciate everybody tuning in. Tomorrow we got a good topic for tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow. Peace.